You don't deserve it, Dad said. My family ditched my Christmas party for my brothers. Months later, Grandpa gave me $3 million and cut them out of the will. You don't deserve it. His voice didn't shake. It pierced. I said what I said. You always act like a damn martyr, Nathan. You think everything should be about you. The air was thick with turkey grease, cheap perfume, and unspoken things. My father, drunk off his third glass of scotch, leaned back in the recliner like he was giving a ruling from a throne. You skipped my Christmas dinner for Ryan's, I said, jaw locked. Ryan has a family now, he fired back. You? You're what, still playing house in your little apartment? Mom shifted her weight in the doorway, chewing her cheek the way she always did when she didn't want to take a side. Ryan? He didn't even flinch. Legs sprawled across the couch like he lived here, like he was the golden son. He was. I knew it. They knew it. Hell, I think he knew it too. I cooked for 3 days, I said, more to the wall than anyone. Bought gifts, lit a fire, waited. We made a choice, Dad said. Don't take it personal. But it was personal. Everything had always been personal, just never for me. Who I am. My name's Sheet Nathan Carter. 26. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Raleigh, North Carolina. I work full-time as a mechanical engineer. Nothing glamorous, but honest. I have a cat named Poppy. I like jazz, and I've been invisible in my own family since I was about 11. Being the second son meant I was the backup, the fill-in, the afterthought. I used to think if I tried hard enough, hosted dinners, remembered birthdays, gave thoughtful gifts, I'd earn my seat at the table. But the table was full, and I was always standing. The family. Ryan, 28. High school football coach, married with 2 kids, Dad's pride. He's the kind of guy who gets forgiven before he even says sorry. Took my parents' side after a business deal that should have included me. It didn't. Dad, James, 58. Cold, charismatic in public, always measuring people by how useful they are. I failed that test a long time ago. Dishing to Mom, Laura, 56. Quiet. Too quiet, a chronic peacekeeper. She loves me, I think, but never loudly enough to make a difference. Grandpa, Arthur, 82. Vietnam vet, sharp as hell, used to take me fishing when no one else wanted to. I think he sees more than he says. It wasn't just the skipped dinner, it was 2 years earlier, when I found out Dad and Ryan had co-signed a loan using Grandpa's land without telling me. A piece of family property I'd spent years helping maintain. They leveraged it for Ryan's startup gym, which failed in 10 months. Grandpa wasn't even told until it was too late. When I brought it up, they said I was being dramatic. It's not like you were going to use that land anyway. That sentence still rattles in my head. Not just because it was cruel, but because they meant it. 3 months after Christmas, Grandpa called me. Nate, he said, I'm updating the will. I sat in stunned silence while he explained. He was leaving everything, the land, the lake cabin, and now $3.1 million in stocks and savings. To me, they took enough, and they never even said thank you. I didn't argue, but I didn't celebrate either. I just felt hollow. I didn't want revenge. I wanted a family. I was 13. Mom had pneumonia that winter, bad. I remember waking up to the sound of her coughing so hard she threw up. Ryan was already out of the house at a sleepover. Dad had a meeting. Said he'd check in later, so I made her soup. Walked 2 miles to Walgreens for medicine because the power was out and we couldn't order delivery. When Dad finally came home, I was curled up next to Mom, watching her chest rise and fall under the blankets. Don't baby her, he barked. She'll get through it. That was the first time I realized being soft in our house was a flaw. Still, I kept showing up. I did the grocery runs, fixed the faucet, stayed late after Grandpa's chemo treatments. Even when I was blamed for the dent in Dad's car, Ryan did it. Even when Mom forgot my birthday 2 years in a row. Even when Ryan joked I was like a butler but sadder. I smiled. I forgave. But now I wonder who I was smiling for. It was Mom who told me soused and quietly, over coffee at a small diner, 6 weeks after Grandpa updated his will. Your father and Ryan, they forged your name. I blinked. What? She didn't look at me, just kept stirring her creamer into the black coffee. The loan papers. They forged your signature. That's how they got it through so fast. Arthur wasn't supposed to know. My breath stopped. I could feel my heartbeat in my fingertips. Why are you telling me now? She finally looked up. Her eyes were glass. Because he's dying, Nathan. She meant Grandpa. And I thought you deserved to know before it was too late. Suddenly, the betrayal wasn't just financial, it was criminal, it was personal, and it had been covered up by the people who were supposed to protect me. The reading of Grandpa's will happened on a Monday morning, small law office. I wore a navy suit. Ryan wore sunglasses inside. Dad was already scowling before the lawyer opened the folder. When it was over, the room was silent. What the hell is this? Dad growled. It's his will, I said calmly. Ryan leaned forward. This is a joke, right? He left everything to you. Everything. The lawyer confirmed. This is insane, Dad snapped. He was manipulated. I took a breath. No, you did the manipulating. I just stopped playing dumb. Ryan stood, knocked over a chair. I'm his son. You're just some background character with a god complex. I looked him in the eye. And you're a thief who forged my name. That hit like a slap. Dad went pale. What? I turned to the lawyer. Do you have the signed statement from the notary? She nodded and handed it over. You can fight the will, I said. But if you do, I'll press charges. You know I can. Dad didn't speak. Ryan walked out. And Mom cried, not loud, not showy, but the kind of crying that sounds like a house collapsing inward. It took me days to go back to the cabin. The keys still felt too heavy in my pocket. When I stepped onto the creaky porch, I thought I'd feel triumph. I didn't. I felt a weird kind of ache, like loss with no funeral. A week later, Mom called. I almost didn't answer. I'm sorry, she said. For what? For letting it happen. For pretending I didn't know what they did. I should have said something sooner. Yeah, I said quietly. You should have. Long pause. I'm trying to be better. That stuck with me. Not I've changed. Just trying. Maybe that's all we ever do. Later, I found a letter in Grandpa's tool shed. It was addressed to me. In days of Nathan, you always showed up, even when no one did for you. That's love, that's family. Not blood, not last names, not duty. Choice. Keep choosing yourself. That's not selfish. That's survival. I didn't burn the bridge. I just stopped waiting on the other side of it. Ryan hasn't called. He might never. That's fine. Some people only come back when there's something to take. Dad? I heard he tried to get a second mortgage. Denied. Mum. She visits sometimes. We plant tomatoes in spring. We don't talk about the past, but we don't pretend it didn't happen either. I used some of the money to start a small scholarship fund in Grandpa's name. For kids like me, the overlooked ones, the helpers, the shadows. The cabin feels like mine now, not just legally, spiritually, there's peace in the air, quiet, like I can finally breathe. I didn't win. I healed. And that's the only kind of revenge I ever really needed. Sometimes the deepest betrayal doesn't come with violence or shouting. It comes with silence, with being forgotten. And when you're finally remembered, it's not love, it's utility. What would you do if your family chose someone else again and again until you disappeared in your own story? Drop a comment below. Have you ever been the forgotten sibling? What's the line between forgiveness and freedom? And would you have pressed charges or walked away? Let's talk about it. Like if you felt this. Subscribe for more real emotional stories that actually say something. You matter, even when they make you feel small. Don't forget that.